Ladies and gentlemen, hope you're all well. Just on Dino Bain here. Got a comment in the comments there from Brendan and mentioning Coca-Cola, and then 10 seconds later I have a look and there's a video from Dino Bain saying boycott Coca-Cola. So, we'll have a look what's going down here. We'll have a look what's going down. All fits into what I've been talking about, carbon credit scores like China, and controlling what you eat and drink and how far you can go, and just total control. To be honest, the new world order is basically the summary of it all. So Dino Bain here has discovered Coca-Cola, but I mean, I'll get onto it later on in the video. But who owns Coca-Cola and who owns everything is the problem you've got here. Um, so let's have a little bit of listen to Dino here, but boycott Coca-Cola, which might I add is going to be real fucking difficult because I love Coca-Cola.
Well, guys, I think we should ban Coca-Cola. They're obviously not our friend. They obviously mean us in ill will. They've released a white paper on carbon allowances, the absolute worst thing that you could imagine happening to the human race. Basically, carbon credit taxes linked to a social credit score, linked to a digital ID, making you, in all but names, a digital slave.
Yeah, I mean, he's right. He's right.
If raising legitimate concerns about thousands and thousands of unchecked foreign males illegally entering our country
Fucking Pakistan there, or the AKA Britain.
makes me far right, then so be it.
How to help consumers make informed choices. You can't make choices for yourself, guys. You've got to be told what to think by Coca-Cola, of all fucking things. A joint report between the Carbon Trust Advisory and the Coca-Cola Company. We should ban Coca-Cola. That's it. I'll go through some of this. We'll get a quick idea of what it's about. But yeah, the dreaded carbon credit score looks like it's quickly on its way.
Yeah, it's very real. It is on its way. Again, I showed you the website there in the other video that was dedicated to labeling things due to the carbon efficiency, if that's what you want to call it, or how bad they are on the planet for the carbon. I mean, it's all bollocks because I don't own a single fucking factory and never have. And all these factories pollute far more than probably most of us put together. And China, you know what I mean? It's all a load of bollocks, just a way of controlling you, just like the digital ID, just like the Online Safety Act. This is all about total control. If you can't figure that out, that's really what it's all about. And when they get there, they will have total control. See, part of the problem you've got here is, again, that people don't seem to far reach enough when they're talking about these problems, is who's behind it all, and who owns Coca-Cola is another factor, and who owns everything. That's the problem. Who owns everything at this point? We've blindly walked into a nightmare. To be honest, we've blindly walked into a nightmare. But the powers that be, the elites, they pretty much own everything. Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Domino's, McDonald's, you name it, they own it. Is kind of the way of things now. Costa Coffee, Starbucks, you name it, Burger King, anything you want to name, anything at all, Halliburton, you fucking, they pretty much own it all. Like, they own it all. There's a company called Diageo that owns Smirnoff Vodka, they owns Guinness, like, Diageo owns half of the drinks that are in pubs are actually owned at this point by a company called Diageo. They've bought everything up. Over our lifetimes, this is what's happened in the background. The big companies have bought the small companies to eventually own all of the companies. There are predominantly, or if not all, owned by the global elites who kind of own the economies, so they have money for nothing and can buy anything for ridiculous prices because they, in effect, own the economies. So we've been hatcheted, jobbed here, to be honest. In the background, while everyone was sleeping, they've literally bought everything up. I'll prove that later on in a few. There's a few pictures I've got that I can show you of who owns what. So yeah, we've kind of been done over while everybody blindly walked into the future, thinking the powers that be were friendly when they're quite frankly not friendly whatsoever, to be honest. So Coca-Cola, again, just a company owned by the global elites, though.
Into being greenlit. This white paper seeks to explore the context for one particular environmental indicator, carbon emissions. The big con, the phony bullshit that they push to allow them to destroy your country and your industry, making you vulnerable to outside interests. All the while browbeating you on how you need to save the environment, your carbon credit tax, you can't eat that steak this month. All the while China opens another fucking coal-fired power station. China emits more CO2 than the rest of the world combined, and it's not even close. So all this is garbage. By developing an initial approach for the concept of personal carbon allowances, there you go, straight away. The white paper shows how personal carbon allowances could work in practice and explores the role that personal...
I mean, sorry to interrupt him, but the beauty of this is as well, this comes from Coca-Cola. It's fucking poison, basically. Like, that strips fucking rust off coins and fucking you name it, because it's pretty lethal, to be honest. This is coming from Coca-Cola, you know what I mean? Like the irony that Coca-Cola, which is full of fucking sugar. God knows how much sugar is in Coca-Cola, but it's a lot. Yeah, this has come from Coca-Cola about being healthy and your fucking carbon, but you know what I mean? So this is how you know you're fucked, when the Coca-Cola are turning around here and telling you to fucking behave. And then, again, there's actually documentaries about Coca-Cola like fucking murdering politicians and stuff in like South America because they wouldn't let Coca-Cola open factories, so fucking Coca-Cola murdered people. There's documentaries exist somewhere of that shit. You know what I mean? It's like, I can't remember the name of the documentary now, but it was, so it's not new. It's not new. How Coca-Cola took over the world or something, and how they got in certain areas where people didn't want the Coca-Cola factories, so they literally took out politicians and got the way in, apparently, was the crack on the documentary. So I wouldn't know what it was called. Type in Coca-Cola, the most evil company in the world or something, and see what you get. So, yeah, the irony that this is coming from Coca-Cola, predominantly a drink that's well known to be bad for you, again, and how much sugar's in it, so how much carbon are you going to be using? We've got to collect all the sugar, you know what I mean? There's a job. They'll probably be automated by the time we get there as well, so we won't need human beings to do that job. So we don't need as much sugar after the war.
Carbon allowances could play in helping consumers to make more informed choices about the products that they consume. We hope that the white paper and the project and research which has been undertaken provides a positive contribution to an emerging debate and highlights the role that product-specific carbon information, could play in encouraging consumers to behave in a sustainable and low-carbon way. Control, control, control. This is the digital leash around your neck. It does not provide a definitive solution and at the same time poses many questions. All right. Providing environmental information in a credible, relevant and understandable way which empowers consumers and encourages...
So, I mean, long story short, I won't play the rest of Dino's video. Go over to Dino Bay and subscribe, like the video. If you want to watch the rest of it, but it's more of just all the paper, what's going on. He does go, this bit here is quite good about your carbon allowance for holidays, etc., etc., how far you can drive, and all this bollocks as well, which is definitely what's coming. We're all getting locked down. You won't allowed to be literally, you won't be allowed to fart. Yeah, and it should be. So, it should be no surprise. I can't remember what the fuck I was talking about because it was about 10 minutes ago. I meant the first half of the video. So, it should be no surprise, but I can't even remember what the fuck I said. So, anyway, moving on. This is a picture here of companies that are owned by companies. So, Coca-Cola owns all these, and PepsiCo, and you can see all the other companies that are ultimately owned by the same people. Again, there's another one who owns Coca-Cola. You see BlackRock in there, and Vanguard. So ultimately, all these companies own all the other companies, and all the companies own the companies, and Coca-Cola own all these companies, and Schweppes, and Fanta, and Costa Coffee, and Diet Coke, and all the other Cokes, and you name it. Everyone owns everybody else. It's a bit of a shit show, to be honest. So the boycott and Coke thing is not exactly, it's not a bad plan, but it isn't going to do anything, is my point. That Coca-Cola own all these other companies, so you're going to have to boycott them as well. Fanta, Costa Coffee. You're going to have to look into who Coca-Cola own and who owns Coca-Cola in order to boycott Coca-Cola, so to speak, because boycotting Coca-Cola alone will not affect Coca-Cola, because you might just buy some of their other products. But even then, if you go to all these other companies like Nestle and PepsiCo, etc., Kellogg's, they're pretty much probably owned by all the same people at the top, with all the shareholders like BlackRock and all these other people, and Larry Fink and etc., etc. So it probably doesn't make any difference. That's the beauty of it. Like boycotting any single one of these brands, and these or the smaller brands that are owned by the bigger brand, it probably won't make any difference, because ultimately they're all owned by the same people. So you never ever really cutting off their money supply, and all these people pretty much probably own all the economies. It's probably all the same people that own all the centralized banks. That's how they managed to buy all this shit in the first place, using money that they've literally fucking gained from printing money for the economies. And basically that's how they bought everything. So I kind of pretty much just think it's a good idea pointing out what Coke are up to, and that this carbon thing is real and it's coming and it's real bad. But boycotting these companies really won't make much of a difference at this point, because everybody owns everybody else, and it's all been bought up in the last like 40 to 50 years. While we walked blindly into the night thinking everything was going to be alright, the global elites, the bigwigs, were making plans and buying everything. They bought the world in the background. So everything owns everything else, as you can see. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is the problem. So boycotting Coca-Cola is not exactly it's not a bad plan, but it's not a good plan either, because they own all these other companies, and then all these other companies own all these other companies, and they're pretty much owned all by the same people. So you're never really affecting them. You know what I mean? That's the problem. But it was good of Dino to make light of Coca-Cola's playing along with the agenda. But I mean, the point is, they're gonna, because all of these companies on this page, every single one of them, is gonna play along with the agenda, because they're all owned by the same people. So you can boycott anyone you want, really, but it won't really make any difference, and you'll probably just be buying. It's like people that boycott Coca-Cola and go and buy Fanta, not realizing that Fanta is owned by Coca-Cola. So you're no further forward, you know what I mean? And Coca-Cola are no further behind. So that's kind of the way things here, you know what I mean? So you can protest all you want, but you've got to use a bit of intelligence about it as well. And I mean, you're just gonna have to get water out of a river. Like, that's the problem. We're gonna have to get water out of a river, because pretty much everything drink you're ever gonna fucking buy is owned by these dickheads. Here's Pepsi, who own a lot of other drink companies. Tropicana's in there, you know what I mean? So they've spent the last 50 years buying all this shit. It wasn't always owned by all these people. It was set up back in the day by families and independent businessmen, but systematically through our entire lifetimes, these people have bought everything. That's what's happened here. They own everything. This is why this is a real problem. The future is a real problem. The digital ID is a real problem, and a bigger problem than many people believe in, even in its implication or implementation, because they can literally cut you off from everything, because they own everything, including the banks, your money, everything you buy, your drink, your food, your car. They own everything. So when I say we're playing chess against the chess masters and they own the board and all the pieces, I'm not joking around here. I'm genuinely trying to express that these people own the fucking board and all the pieces, and all the companies, all the car companies, all the banks, all the food companies, all the transportation companies, you name it, in 2025, they own it. So we're in a lot of trouble, like more trouble than you could possibly even perceive, to be honest, because they can literally cut you off from everything. They own everything. They control everything at this point. This has been well planned out. The only way you could ever pull this off was to own everything. It's the only way you can do it. So, I mean, not everything. There is small shops in towns that aren't owned by the global elites. But as the economy gets worse and worse, and the councils put the council taxes up, and Amazon slowly kills the high street, especially in Britain, again, eventually what will be left that can get through the economic crisis, because they've got all the money in the world, will be all of these companies, not the smaller companies. And again, you'll be left with Tesco and McDonald's and Costa Coffee and Burger King and all these companies. They're not necessarily a bad thing in many ways. They're good shops and good companies, some would say. Maybe not, and like depending on what they're feeding. Yeah, there has been reports of like human meat being found in McDonald's, human DNA being found in McDonald's slaughterhouses. So I mean that's not good news. I mean the burgers, I know this for a fact. The only burgers that McDonald's freeze are the quarter pounders. So they don't even freeze those skinny little bits of burger that are in Big Macs and the general burgers. They're never frozen. So, what are we being fed as well? And again, when you know the level of how evil the global elites could be, you'd be surprised what these people will do. You know what I mean? And again, you say, oh, there's food agencies. Well, they own them as well. You know what I mean? So it's like we're in a shit show here. I mean, if you look into aspartame, that's in all diet products, Diet Coke, Diet Pepsi, everything diet's got aspartame in it. It used to be called NutraSweet, NutraSoft. Changed the name multiple times because in tests it was proven to give cancer in rats and mice, and brain tumours in tests made by a company called Searle. And when Donald Rumsfeld, who was CEO of Searle when they created aspartame, it was by the FDA would not let it in a food in America. And when Donald Rumsfeld became vice president to President Bush, the second one, he got aspartame put into food about 25 years ago. It's now in all diet products around the world. Yet in tests it was proven to cause cancers and tumours in mice and rats. And it's in food everywhere, all diet products. And a lot of people know about that, to be honest. You can Google that, aspartame. Searles, the company, Donald Rumsfeld. That's the tale. That is the tale. And again, it just smacks of like political, what's the word I'm looking for? Just like fucking dodginess, to be honest. Just fucking dodginess in the background, as everything is. Everything's dodgy. So yeah, boycott Coca-Cola if you want, but if you're gonna boycott all the other companies as well that the Coca-Cola own, and pretty much every company in the entire world and every product in the world, because they're all pretty much owned by the same people, and you'll always be funding them somehow. So but that's the news. Coca-Cola are dicks, but I mean everybody probably knew that anyway, to be honest. I mean there was originally cocaine in Coca-Cola, you know what I mean? So why you think this fucking company's reputable? I don't know, you know what I mean? They're clearly drug dealers. There's apparently a very, very small fraction of Coke still in Coca-Cola due to the trademark, to keep the trademark. I heard in a documentary, don't know if it's still true, in 2025, but yeah, originally there was cocaine in Coca-Cola. That's why everyone liked it and got addicted to it, because it's got Coke in it. So, I mean, why we thought there was a reputable company and they're fucking drug dealers, do you know what I mean? They're actually drug dealers. So there we go. That's the tale. I'll leave it there. Peace.